Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
We're going to start with my burning questions. Got a hot one for you, gentlemen. I feel like this could go a variety of ways here. Simply put, who is the best team in college basketball right now? RC, who you got?
I got UConn. I don't. I think they're the best team in the country right now, as they continue to get healthier and in shape. I think Klingon is back, but I think as he continues to get in game shape, I think it's gonna be better and better. I haven't seen anything to change my mind on it. I know I give Rob crap about it. I give their fans crap about it, but they very well could be back to back champions. So if I had to pick a team right now, I'd pick them. Even their schedule, I think, is having beaten Creighton, hadn't beaten Villanova now. I think their most difficult game in the next couple of games is I can't remember. It might be St. John's. At St. John's, they're home for a couple of games as well. The next two games, three of the next four games are at home. I don't see anybody beating them at their place. So I'm gonna go. I'm still big on Purdue, but if I had to say the best team, if I had to put my money on it, I'm going UConn.
Yeah, they got a lot of winnable games coming up. Their only
Yeah.
projected loss the rest of the season, according to KenPom, is at Creighton on February 20th. Everything else projected UConn victory, including a bunch of home games and a bunch of road games against the bottom of that conference. Jerel, do you like the UConn pick, or are you going a different direction?
I actually do like the UConn pick, and just going off what RC said, I think they're probably one of the most complete teams and what they've been able to do, even having some guys in and out of the lineup early on in the start of the season throughout the first half of the season. But I'll take a little bit of a left turn here, and I'll say that quiet as kept, the best team in the country right now might be North Carolina. I don't know if it's any team right now that's playing better. I feel like RJ Davis is easily probably the best and the most consistent guard in the country right now, in my opinion. And those guys have all the pieces. Armando Bacot is averaging 10 boards a game, 14 rebounds, settling into his role. Not the same, end all be all he was offensively in years past. And then those guys that they had coming in through the transfer portal have just been just spot on with everything that I felt like they needed with Ingram and Cormac Ryan and those guys. So then they had the young guy coming in, Cadeau and Seth Trimble as well too. And right now, I don't feel like it's a team that's playing better than North Carolina at this moment. So
You know what?
Good call,
To
too.
your point, yeah. To your point, the only reason I didn't pick them was because UConn beat them earlier this year. So I felt like I needed to
yep.
give them the slight edge because UConn beat them earlier. But you're right. They playing lights out. Carolina's balling right now. They definitely top three team in the country.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that I feel like looks different than the early season version of themselves, too. And UConn last
Yep.
season is a good example of that, right? They kind of went through phases where they were dominant in the non-conference. Then I think they lost like 6 of 8 in conference play at one point, and then looked dominant again in the NCAA tournament. Right now, North Carolina looks dominant for sure. 8-0 in ACC play. Hard to see a loss coming anytime soon. Their first game against Duke is at home, so that's obviously advantage. Hubert Davis and the guys. But gentlemen, come on, I can't let you off this easy. How are we 2 answers into this hot question and nobody's mentioned Purdue? Let's be honest. They got the best player in the sport. They're ahead of both North Carolina and UConn, according to many of the advanced analytics sites that I know and love so well. This is the number one offense in the sport. And guys, they dominated the non-conference. I mean, we saw what happened. They ran through the Maui Invitational. They ran through Alabama and Arizona on neutral site events. Like, have we forgotten how good Purdue is just from a couple road losses in conference play, RC?
No, I'm bullish on them. I think they'll be there when it matters in the end. I mean, we talk about them. I mean, listen. I'm a big fan of UConn. I think I'm a big year in redemption for them. I think this is something that they're going to respond from last year. I don't think any of that stuff it will linger. But again, we've seen a blueprint. I just said UConn or even Carolina probably they're more versatile. I think UConn has more guys. They're not dependent upon. If I had to nitpick, and I don't think it's a debate on who the top three teams in the country are. But again, we've seen this with Purdue. We're not going to question it with Purdue until the tournament comes around. They're going to run through the Big Ten. We know it. My question with Carolina, the only question I have is, how are they going to win when R.J. Davis struggles, when he has an off night offensively? Where is the production coming from? I think he's been the best point guard, if not the best guard in the country. So I'm not saying he's going to fall off, but just even having an off night, how are they going to respond to that? I just think UConn don't have to rely on that one guy to carry them as much. And that's why I said I'd say they are the best team right now. But I'm not. If you say UConn, you say Carolina, I wouldn't argue either way.
Okay. Jerel, what do you think of Purdue? Am I off base throwing the Boilermakers in this conversation?
No, you're not off base at all. And just exactly like you were saying, those guys are right there. It's not a very far margin in between them and what we're talking about UConn. I could have easily said Purdue and nobody would have batted an eye either. And I'll give you two. I'll give you one thing about both teams that scared me a little bit. And it's sort of like I think versatility was the key word that RC said. Purdue still scares me at times because I feel like they're first half away from Zach Edey getting in foul trouble from them taking an early exit. And I do feel like they're better, and I do feel like they've gotten better since last year with the pieces that they added, and they can sustain it a little bit better. But it's something about him being the end all be all that scares me a little bit because it changes the dynamic of their team so much. And UConn, it doesn't, because we've seen them play and win games with Cleveland getting out. Obviously it's not the same exact impact as Zach Edey is, at least scoring wise it isn't. But and then for UConn on the other hand, only thing that kind of scares me about them, I still feel like they have some of the most depth, like RC said, and just a plethora of really talented and good players who can get hot and kind of beat you on any given night. Only thing that scares me about them is at the end of games, kind of who you drawing up a play for. I don't think there's a clear-cut go-to guy or a guy we say throw him the ball and let him go to work and we'll see what happens. And there's going to come a point in time throughout the course of the year because I don't think they're going to roll kind of through the NCAA tournament like they did last year. Last year, there weren't a whole lot of close games for UConn for that to even matter. So,
Hey, Greg, I will say this. Hey, Greg, I will say this about Purdue. I asked you about Purdue this. I don't worry about a repeat performance of last year for them, like not making shots. I think Lance Jones helps them in so many ways, extra ball handling. My only concern with Purdue would be a center that stretches the floor that can knock down threes, and he's just making shots that day because they're not switching, right? And they play in drop coverage. They're not bringing Zach Edey out the paint. So if a big man just can't guard him, nobody guards him. He's player of the year, all that stuff's done. I've been on record saying I think he deserves defensive player of the year and player of the year. But if a big man stretches him and can knock down shots that forces him to come out the paint, then I think that's the only thing that beats them. Other than that, they're going to roll.
Yeah, I like that call out. It's hard to imagine like what exact bigs do we think that fit. Like Hunter Dickinson, I could see maybe stretching him a little bit. Or just a team that goes super small, like Illinois doesn't play a traditional center. We're going to see Illinois-Purdue again later this season. But, it's a good call out, RC. I had one note on to Jerel's point on UConn. I was going to push back and say Tristan Newton can be that guy a little bit. But Tristan Newton's actually really struggled in conference play. I wasn't even aware of this until I just looked these numbers up. He's shooting 33% from the floor, 25% from three on 6 attempts per game from three in the 8 Big East games this season. Small sample size, of course, but those numbers are going to need to course correct a little bit to be feeling really good about UConn down the stretch of the season. So
thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field 68 content.